Something happened to reach for yours first. If you make it, I'll reach. If you don't make it, I'll reach for it. President. Yeah, we do have some.
Yeah, that
Here,
line.
I'll
But it's right there. It's the top. And there is no. Yeah.
Hey, no, the one above.
Jump and jump. There's another one.
Thank you. In 5 minutes.
No, the two I shipped the wrong ones for Heather.
Nathan, are we good to start?
Yep.
Call this commissioner meeting to order on October the 6th. Please rise for the pledge. Thanks, Nathan. First on the agenda is the approval of minutes from September the 15th, regular session, and the cancellation of the town hall meeting.
I have read the minutes from the regular session of town hall. I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
A motion, a second to approve the minutes from September the 15th, regular session, and September 6th, town hall cancellation. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Approval of the claims of payroll. I look at the payroll.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
There's a claim. There is a claim for a donation by the Community Development Committee, out of $560 for Tippy's Pizza. It's a donation. I'm just questioning what a donation, the donation is regarding.
Say that?
There's a donation from the C.D.C to Tippy's.
No. The bill was paid out of what's called C.D.C donation. So in addition to our Fund 1112 budget that funds our regular operations, we have a small fund that's been around for longer than I have, where if a utility like E.M.S makes an annual contribution to support economic development efforts, we have that, and it isn't restricted the way that tax-based funds are all allocated into specific appropriations, like one for payroll, one for benefits, that sort of thing. So this is money that has come from CenturyLink or NIPSCO or another utility supporter in the past that was a contribution to our organization.
But why is it, was it a donation? Listed as a donation.
Donation fund. So let me see what you can find.
So it came out of.
So that's the name of the fund. It's just
The fund.
C.D.C donation fund, fund number 41.
So it's not exactly, not a
It
donation.
was, yes, that was for a bill. But it was money that at some point went, because it was a contribution to the organization and not tax revenue or not an invoice being paid, it went into our donation. So I think E.M.S has a donation fund. I don't know if there's any sort of, there's one. We have what's called the general donation fund. We have this one. We have a handful of donation funds tied in.
Invoice, not say donation.
That's the name of the fund.
Well, it doesn't say donation on the, I mean, it does for the fund. I don't think you can change the actual name of the fund. It's actually out of what they call unappropriated. because it's not been budgeted.
It's a fund that is filled by donations instead of a tax revenue or bills.
Okay, so you received an invoice from TB.
Yes, paid it out of that instead of out of tax.
Way it reads it.
Understood. Yep.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for clarification. Thank you
that's-
for Jenny for asking the question.
Okay, no, that's all I have. So I will second the motion for claim payroll.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims on payroll number 19 and 20. Any further discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Conference request, Teresa Bryant, State Board of Accounts, called Auditor Conference in Michigan City, October 21st to the 24th. I will make that motion to approve the conference request. Motion is second. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Mr. Doug Ditton, Town of Monterey. You could sit or you could stand. We have all kinds of options.
Probably better if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, good evening, gentlemen. Ma'am. Good to see you all tonight. I'm here on behalf of the Town Board of Monterey as its elected president, and also for the residents of Tippecanoe Township and all those constituents that we represent up in the northeast side of the county. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You should have, I believe Carl has sent to everybody paperwork in regards to the Sportsman's Bar. This is a situation that I have been dealing with on and off through, I guess it would be my fourth set of commissioners now, for over a decade. I think most of the people here probably are somewhat familiar with what the situation of the building is in question. Like I said, I have the paperwork here, has to do with the final notice of hearing to be scheduled and some of the other stuff that Carlos sent me, which, like I said, I'm assuming everybody has the same copies. So that being said, I'm here tonight to try to persuade you for the 100,000th time to possibly move this process forward. I know basically through different ownerships and people that have owned it, it went back to them. Other people have taken it over, it's went back to them. There's been no contact with owners and stuff. It's basically falling down, it's in kind of condemnation. I know it's in code violation, state codes, under the Homeland Security, so forth, because they are the overseers of what your building inspector does. And also over the years, it's also in health department code violations, that when Perry Hansen was the health department. Brief history for those who don't know it, it fell down in 2015. At that point in time, some of the rubble was cleaned up, and then I came down here in 2016. Mr. Hankersley was your attorney, and we had a discussion in regards to that, and convinced them by means of law that the fence needed to be put up around us since you are the governing authority in the county, and we have adopted that back in the 1980s. So that being that effect, so the fence was put in place. And that was the last thing that was done to the property, and that's been basically 9 years ago. Needless to say, I think there are pictures also that was given to you of the structure itself.
I didn't see any pictures.
Okay, well, Carla did take pictures. And if anybody's been over that way, and I know some of you guys have, because you were there for the festival, and I mean, if you turned around, you're like, oh, there it is. People are like, where's the building? It's not too hard to miss if you come to town. So what we're wanting to do, as I believe the last report, she has put out a public notice, if I'm not mistaken, which would have been the last legal hurdle for her to attempt, according to our town order, Mr. Schramm, Justin Schramm, town attorney. So that being said, I'm hoping that I can impel you to basically look upon this, maybe finally move forward with at least a condemnation. I realize that the process, even if you do that, is not going to be, we fix it tomorrow. I understand that. It's going to have to be getting quotes and bids and other things, and, you know, in certain amounts of funding and so forth. And the town is able to contribute to those efforts as well. the process. I mean, and I know the logistics of that could be worked out going forward. So as you take this under consideration 10 years later, you know, I would like for you to basically consider moving it into condemnation so we can then take a legal path forward, which is required because until that point comes, you know, you can't step legally on the property. So I'm just here to ask you on behalf of all the residents of my town and of my township, of the district up there, that maybe we move forward on this finally. And like I said, we're not expecting overnight solutions, but we do have to take a step forward to resolve it. Because eventually what will happen if you go up that way and you look at the property, it's going to be a matter of now you're going to have to, because it's just going to fall into the street and that will be under your situation, you know? So I would rather be proactive in it instead of being reactive in it and saying, well, guys, you know, First National Bank can't do business now because it's laying on Main Street. So, like I said, I'm just here to ask and request that you folks take this under consideration. I know all the paperwork's in front of you. I know I think you have everything you are.
Yeah, the one comment I will make, and Carla may have the answer to this, you may have the answer to this, is under the statute, there's an ordinance that needs to be adopted by the county to establish an unsafe building board.
Okay.
I'm not aware if the county has one. I'll talk to Carla, because if there isn't, then
Right.
then we would need to do that. So I think you guys would want to make a motion for me to prepare that for you to pass in the event there is not one. And then once that ordinance is done, then you can, there's a statutory process for setting a hearing and notice and those sorts of things.
Right.
So that's kind of step one.
Right, you know, as I understand it to be in my experience in dealing with like, you know, the state of Indiana with.
And they're slow
enforcement
moving. Yep.
and excess, I mean, you know, and I realize that, you know, technically you don't have to have a building inspector in this county. You can be the governing authority, you 3 people yourselves. But you have to implement and enforce the codes that are state codes. Carla basically, which I think Carla does a fine job. I'll be very honest with you. I think she's done a good job on all this. And that is that, while she is your county employee, she is also the logistical leg person for the state of Indiana in code enforcement as it pertains to commercial structures in this county. And that has to do not just with falling down buildings, but with every other part of zoning and code enforcement that has to do with permitting and everything else. So, you know, we can basically say, which I don't disagree with what you're saying, but we can basically say that is the problem or the process. But the simple fact of the matter is that, you know, it is entrusted upon this board to basically act due diligently and to do this in somewhat of a speedy, what would be considered a timely frame. You know, in 10 years is a long time. I mean, we have officially filed paperwork. We have also done other studies that we have presented to other commissioners, which should all be on record. It's somewhere. Somebody should have those on file. Mr. Schramm has sent numerous letters to the commissioners over the last decade. We have been very diligent on our part. You know, we have been in touch with IDEM, who comes from my town constantly because of my sewer plant operations. So, I mean, I understand the situation that's involved here. I also, from a personal standpoint, my business, I've done this for 35 years, so I understand the code violations, all that sort of stuff proper. So if you have to do a board to make it go forward, fantastic. I mean, you know, I just don't want to basically, I'd like to see this resolved before, you know, you guys come down seeing your frames.
You don't want to have this conversation in 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug, I think it needs, well, I don't think, I know it needs to be addressed.
Right.
I appreciate your persistence over the
Right.
years. I think, working with Carla and the email we have, she's got things in place which you confirmed
Yes.
and talked about, so it's just a matter of doing that. I think it would be your thoughts if, to make a motion to approve Nathan to move forward and talking with Carla to confirm if we have this,
Ordinance in place.
ordinance in place.
You mean Jacob?
I'm
Said Nathan,
sorry.
You meant Jacob,
I
right?
apologize.
Okay, we were looking at him.
Jacob, yes, thank you. Make sure that our county attorney Has everything in place? It's all in place. It's okay. If not, then it gives us a few more weeks for Jacob to work with Carla to get this done before our next meeting.
And what I would suggest, just because I don't know the status of that ordinance, was that somebody make a motion that if there is not an ordinance establishing, that you authorize me to move forward, so we don't have to wait for the next meeting to do that. So that would be my suggestion.
Possibly. I mean, the logistics of it would have to do however you wanted to handle it. I mean, you could take private bids, you could do it with internally, however you saw fit to basically deal with it, as long as it was within the guidelines of what the code and what the state of Indiana would require you to do. The problem we've had in years past with this project or this issue is we have had instances where people were not willing to follow code. And, you know, it's like, well, we'll take stuff, we'll dump it in the river. It's like, oh, no, we're not doing stuff like that because IDEM will hang everybody in the room from a nail. So, yeah, I mean, and all those issues, because like I said, we did those studies to address that probably 6 years ago. And somewhere between maybe Mr. Hoover, someone has those studies. We paid for it, the town paid to do all of it. So you have the paperwork. I don't know where it's at. I might probably have a copy on file somewhere in my office, but outside of that, I know it was given to, it might have been Mr. Locke and Mr. Becker at that time. I'm trying to think of lineage going forward. So, like I said, if we don't do something pretty soon after a decade, we're going to have a conversation and it's going to be, these guys, you got a hell of a mess on you. We're going to have to clean this up. And then it's not going to be trying to micromanage costs. It's going to be, you just got to get it taken care of no matter what. So I think it would save the county money if we would be proactive in dealing with it up front instead of, you know, having to take care of it once it's completely busted or fallen. And I know Carla, I'll say one more thing. I know Carla has spoken to a couple of individuals in regards to prices, taking the structure down. And I know she has certain monies and funds that I believe we talked about that could possibly be done for them. And like I said, and the town does have certain amounts of money that we are willing to contribute to the project as well. So it's not just on you guys 100%.
Well, I'll make a motion to have our attorney look into and get, make it, it's.
Ordinance.
It's in the ordinance, so that we.
I'll second the motion for the ordinance. See if the ordinance exists.
Any discussion?
Well, not in relationship to that, but have you looked into any, were there ever any grants available to do anything like?
The problem with it is until it basically transitions into like what you're talking about, you cannot, because it's still considered in private holdings.
Right.
So until it basically, the legal pathway is put forth where you can actually seek out money, there possibly could be grants, but until it is in that legal definition, you can't approach it in that context
Okay.
because it would be like me trying to come to your house and getting a grant to come over and knock your garage down.
So we have a motion and a second to allow our county attorney to talk with Carla in developing an ordinance if one does not exist. Dealing with this building in Monterey and future buildings as well. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it, guys. Yeah.
Sure.
Not to Doug. Can you all hear? No?
I don't know if.
Want to turn that one?
Is there a gentleman?
You know, got it. Okay. Testing, you hear me better now?
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Natasha?
Can you hear me better now? Oh. Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better now?
There you go.
Oh, you gotta eat the mic. Pardon me? I know, but I'm holding it like this. But you can't hear it when I'm like this.
Jenny, what number mic is that?
7. Mic 7. You can hear me when I talk like this, though. I can hear myself.
I say, I can hear you better down here.
Okay, we just have to hold them up to our mouths then. Mike, grab your mic. Grab a mic, Mike.
I'll talk to our agent. As much as I can control it's matched.
Okay.
Natasha, you're up. You can.
You can.
I naturally talk out, so this will be easy. Basically, we had a discussion last time I was here about PTO changes. What I kind of looked into, I sent the most similar packets to you guys, there's a lot of information there, kind of look for digest. A lot of the counties that I talked to, they allow for a 30-day window. So over if they can't complete the PTO request by December the 31st, they get a 30-day grace period that allows them to finish utilizing that time. There are some other counties that have a specific limit on how much per year they can actually have in the bank, as we similarly discussed last time. So I did think those were pretty interesting, as well as I highlighted some different PTO learning status. Many other counties, the PTOs are at the same rate across the board, regardless of the position. And then I also included a hospital service as well in the package. I think that if they're not able to use their PTO within the continuation of this work, the ones that do have PTO left, we're understaffed. We're working 7 to 10 to 6 hour shifts at the beginning of January. So it's nice to reward them this year with a little extra.
Could you repeat what your recommendation would be?
I would like to see that we give a 30-day grace period. Yeah, as well as look at how we are earning PTO in regards to the other departments, because we are earning it at the lower rate, but working most hours. So I'd just like to see our staff get a little bit more time off, especially because our job is mentally straining at times.
So your definition of 30-day period is the end of January.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
I know in the holidays, there's a lot of people that want to be with their families, and so a lot of us that aren't blessed with children, we work a lot to accommodate the other staff members.
Yeah.
And those of us that accommodated last year lost.
That's it. Because it was in December.
Yep, so I took over in October last year, is the 21st, so the schedule for November was already made. The only schedule I made last year was December, so I had control over what was being left.
So do you have a recommendation for the amount of PTO that you want them to be able to, I just want to make sure I understand. They have to use all the PTO by the end of January?
Only roll 48 hours to the next calendar year.
Okay.
So 48 hours for us is 2 shifts. So essentially, when you look at some of the other county departments, they have a week off, we have 5 days. Okay. So just kind of looking at it, we earned a different rate than the majority of the other departments. Like I said, just facilitating kind of a discussion going from here on how to adapt different PTO rules and regulations.
So just clarification, you did 48 hours already for January through December 31st carryover.
Yes.
And now you're asking for 96 hours to roll over January, for the month of January.
Believe it or not,
And then starting February. No. Starting February 1st.
they're all about.
The red.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
No, it's okay. It's a lot of information to digest and a very good package.
Right.
And your other point you made,
The second point that you wanted to make was downtown was accumulated, if you will. So can you explain that a little bit more before?
Yeah, overall, I'm not to get the microphone up here. Overall, we look at E.M.S is earning at a lower rate. So our first year E.M.S personnel, they are earning at 0.01644, whereas like the 35 and 40 hour, they are earning at 0.02308, and the sheriff's department is earning at 0.02226. So we're not quite earning at the same rates.
How did you calculate that?
I went based on years of service and divided how much you're given per quarter.
A quarter?
Like some years. So we are designated by 1 year to 2 to 5 years, 6 to 10, 11 plus. For the earning categories.
Is it the first year after 90 days, 48 hours? Is that what you said?
It is, the first year is 65. You may not have a package from last week, that's what the calculation there. But essentially, your first year is 28.
I'm looking at the Pulaski County Personnel Policy Handbook,
Okay.
page 42, full-time off P.T.O.
Yes. 48.
24 hours on, 48 hours off schedule.
Yes. So essentially, in the first year, they're only eligible for 2 days off for the entire calendar year.
48 hours.
Yes. Yep. So they have to take 24 at a time essentially, or they take off without being off.
And 2 to 5 years is 128 hours.
Yes.
And that is in line with the 40-hour schedule. And the 24 hours on, the 48 hours for the first year people is in line with the 40-hour schedule. 152, 6 to 10 years, and 11 plus is 176 hours. The sheriff's department, 86 hours, and a 14-day period is slightly more than yours.
Yes. So they are working 12 hours, so we're working.
Okay. Here's the back up front in front of you. You get your watch in front of it, sometimes close to it is when it's been going on.
Okay.
Oh, this is her. I thought.
I wasn't sure if they did back there.
So what would be your recommendation for this thing?
I would like this to be more in line with the sheriff's department, or look at a different rate. I did include Cass County as well as, Sportsman County is kind of unique in that they don't really do the grid system. They call it sick time is what it looks like based on their handbook. And I did talk to their director and like, so they get that 30-day grace period if it's not used by December. Newton County does as well.
You had those hours in
Yes, I do, yeah. I tried to highlight everything, but I may have missed some, and I can send you more documentation.
appreciate you doing this.
I appreciate all this. I don't have a problem at all with rolling PTO.
30 days.
30 days, but I would like time to over. I would like to.
I think we need to look, my opinion is I think we also need to look at how it affects the other departments. If we do that for one, maybe do it for all, and then look into your second request as well, and see how that plays with the other departments. That's what they would do.
And I just want to say, as of today, we have 5 EMTs waiting for full time. So that's impressive. I'm very, very, very happy with that.
Great.
We have 1 paramedic that's waiting for full time, so. I don't know if I'm going to get able to accommodate, but it's good news for our community. It means people are wanting to come work for Pulaski County. And these are not necessarily individuals that are living here. They're seeing what we're doing and they want to come.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Survey of the contract with the hospital and the survey.
I'm trying to, I've got 3 or 4 things with you pending, so I'm trying to categorize it in my head. We're talking about the contract language, about the,
survey of the study being done.
yeah, yep, so after we last spoke, I had a meeting with Attorney Schramm. He has sent a kind of some language to me. So I think we're ready to move forward whenever I can get that on the agenda for the next meeting for approval.
Very good.
So if we want to add that to the agenda for next meeting.
So the language, what Natasha had talked about wanting in there.
About basically to protect the county and to also, one of the issues, probably the biggest issue is that the county wasn't really a party to the agreement. And so that was the concern that I had, was there's 2 parties listed in the contract, and none of them are Pulaski County. And so I think it needs to be amended to allow you guys to enter into that privy of contract.
You've talked to Justin about that?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Natasha, that Jacob hasn't mentioned that was a huge need in that?
Well, I think specifically there was language about just ensuring that certain information isn't released to allow competitors to undercut the county for bidding purposes and those sorts of things. Basically like a non-disclosure agreement essentially is what you're looking at.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yes.
We'll put it on.
I think you'll be able to approve it by then.
Natasha also say, a few weeks back, I had to call 911 for my church because someone was unconscious. And your staff arrived and they were very professional and helpful. And so it was good to see. So not the person, but the professionalism of your staff. So thank you.
We have truly great employees, I'll say it again and again. They are.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Harvey Gutwein? You could sit there, sir, or you could stand there. Up there, with the microphone. If you like, no?
Yeah, if this one, Harvey, that's fine. Yeah, wherever.
It would be better if you sat facing us and the microphone would pick you up.
You're something for a big guy.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Good luck. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I was told when I was a young fella, can't say something nice, don't say anything. Well, I may stretch that a little bit this evening. I'll try not to stretch it too much. As Don had said, my name is Harvey Gutwein. At the last commissioners meeting, there was no time available for public comments due to another meeting coming up. After the meeting, I asked Don what future he has in Pulaski County. His answer was, what do you have? I will now answer that question. I am a lifetime resident of Francisville. I am married with 5 children, 19 grandchildren. Our family owns a business, and we also operate a farm. We hope to have a future in Pulaski County. Maybe you would like to answer the question when you get a chance. Now, my title for today is Balance in Life and Business. I think we would all agree that solar is a very inefficient form of electric generation.
If it were not for government incentives, solar would not even be considered in our area. Robert Schwartz, a graduate of Winnemac High School and IU, is now the CEO of the Miami Cass REMC. He said the efficiency of the solar facility in their district is 15%. There are some months they have a negative number. That means it took more electricity to power them than the system generated. A month ago, during the public comments, I talked about the path of least resistance. Maybe you remember the analogy of a football game. The team with the possession of the football scouts out the defense and moves the ball through the weakest area. Today I want to talk about balance. Imagine a scale. Balance of a scale. With a pound of money on one side, a pound of common sense on the other side. The scale is balanced. As additional money is lowered on the scale, the scale tips and common sense is thrown out the window. Is this the situation in Pulaski County? I think we would all agree that there has been an erosion or decline of moral and ethical standards in our country, our state, and our county. Morally, we no longer have the good of our neighbor in our decisions. Ethically, we have very few boundaries that we are not willing to push in order to gain an advantage. For 450 years, many of our young people, including 3 of our own children, have left Pulaski County to continue their education or find work in other areas. I'll give you my glass of water, my mouth's dry. Excuse me. We've left Pulaski County to continue their education to find work in other areas. Most of the individuals that left have not returned to Pulaski County to live. You could call this a brain drain. These individuals are raising their families in places other than Pulaski County. Now, I'm not saying that there's no brains left here, but there's been a brain drain. Now we are experiencing a financial drain due to the lack of resistance in Pulaski County. The solar companies are flocking to get acres signed up. Remember the path of least resistance? It seems that even Indiana's former governor had a target on Pulaski County for years. Doesn't it seem strange he is now working for the solar company? Our county commissioners have approved thousands of acres of solar. County council has approved tax abatements for their personal property on 2 solar projects. The personal property is the solar equipment. Why would our county give tax abatements for the solar equipment? Did it take tax abatements to lure the solar companies to Pulaski County? The answer is no. By giving tax abatements, the county is forfeiting potential revenue that could change the financial position of Pulaski County. Allowing the tax abatements seemed to be a poor business decision. I'm sure when Nathan, the economic director, talks in a few minutes, he's going to explain that the solar companies will be giving economic development payments in place of the personal property taxes. Do we have much faith that those solar companies will continue to be in business? The old English proverb, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, offers a warning. In other words, it encourages taking what is certain rather than gambling on a future uncertain outcome. Changing gears here. Regarding the proposed merger of departments, 2 of the 3 commissioners and some individuals on the county council want to merge the building department with the county economic development department to save on expenses. At the last commissioners meeting, we listened to a council member give her opinion why the merger should take place. This proposed merger would save a few $1,000s. It seems like they would rather give away millions of dollars for the tax abatements while saving a few $1,000s on a merger. You can say they are stepping over millions to pick up pennies. Poor decision. This proposed merger would also, and this is a big deal, this proposed merger would also eliminate the checks and balances of the departments by giving the economic director free rein and little to no resistance. This is exactly what the solar companies would like to see happen. A drink. Who's running this county? Is it our elected officials? Or is it our economic development director? Or is it the solar companies? Or is it a combination of our economic director and the solar companies? Maybe Pulaski County should publish a book titled, How to Bring Solar to Your County. Now I'd like to share a few promises made by a solar company and a promoter of solar. About 5 years ago, several residents, including a Pulaski County commissioner, wanted to help the Francisville community by opening a grocery store, because we didn't have one. Several of us invested in the business and named it the Francisville Market. Very fitting. Unbeknownst to me, a solar company had promised money to the Francisville Market. That sure seemed odd to me when I found out. The money did not arrive under our ownership. The business sold this past May. Whether the money has arrived since the sale, I do not know. You could find out by asking the new owner. Oh, by the way, stockholders received 10 cents on the dollar. The solar company also promised money to the Francisville Fire Department as of last week. It has not arrived. Does it appear that the solar company is trying to buy favor? Switching gears. I think due to the lack of communication between Pulaski County commissioners and the residents of Pulaski County, the level of disappointment and distrust is very high. The former president of the Jasper County Commissioners told me when they have an issue to be decided, the public has an opportunity to voice their thoughts and concerns prior to their board discussion and vote. This makes total sense. Here in Pulaski County, the commissioners want to make decisions and vote prior to public comment. This makes no sense. And there are times when the public comment is not allowed due to time constraints. Is this the way citizens of Pulaski County should be treated by their elected officials? Should the solar companies be given advantages over the citizens of Pulaski County? Why would Pulaski County continue down this path? Is it due to dollars outweighing common sense? Why would council members vote to give up potential revenue by allowing tax abatements? I call on the members of the county council to deny further tax abatements for the solar projects. If you are working for the good of the county, it is an easy decision to say no. I think it is high time for the residents and elected officials of Pulaski County to be interested in the welfare of Pulaski County. And now a few thoughts for the landowners who are in the solar. I can understand why you would consider solar panels for your land. If I heard correctly, you can receive an annual payment of $1,000 per acre. That is equivalent to a 200 bushel corn crop at $5. And with no input costs. In 5 years, you would have accumulated $5,000 per acre. How many years do you suppose you will get the $1,000 per acre? Will it be 5, 10, more, or less? What do you plan to do with the land at the end of the solar panel lifespan? Do you think the solar companies have any concern for the future of your land or Pulaski County as a whole? Will you pass your land on to the future generation? Will the land be an asset or will it be a liability? Who will pay for clearing the land? I am no expert on demolition, but my educated guess is the land will not be worth clearing. Most of you are familiar with Liberty Landfill, which is located east of Buffalo, Indiana. It is somewhere around a square mile, which is 640 acres. Are the landowners in Pulaski County prepared to deal with the remnants of the solar material? Or will we have a 30,000 acre toxic landfill to deal with? Even if you support solar on your farmland, why would you condone giving tax abatements? Well, this next one is where maybe I stretched a little bit of what we should say, I think. Not nice. Up until a year ago, Commissioner Don and I were pretty good level of respect for each other. Things changed when a political flyer came in the mail prior to the election. So I asked Don, he come to my office, I asked Don, showed him that, what is this? He knew nothing about it. And I believe that's correct. That flyer degraded Logan Weekry. Logan is married with 4 children, owns a business in Pulaski County, and has a future in Pulaski County. Don told me that he had nothing to do with the flyer. If he didn't send this flyer, who did? Was it the solar company that financed the flyer? Does anybody know who sent the flyer? I'm sure somebody knows. Are we better off with business people or academia making decisions for Pulaski County? I think the answer is very clear. Before I close, I would like to pose a question to myself. Do I enjoy talking to fellow residents as I just did? The answer is no. Citizens of Pulaski County, it is time to take a stand and speak up and let your voices be heard. All of us are instructed to be good stewards, whether we own land, operate a business, or if we are elected officials serving the citizens. We are to be good stewards. Remember the quote, reasonable people, equally informed, seldom disagree. I would be glad to take any questions from the commissioners.
I don't have a question. I appreciate your coming out and speaking, Mr. Gutwein. I do agree with you, and I have spoken with other counties as far as our agenda. For as long as I can recall, public comment has come at the very end of these meetings. It is not right. There is no opportunity for us as commissioners, for council as a council, saying because I've been to these board meetings. There was no point in having public comment at the end of a meeting. No, Eastern Pulaski school superintendent recently changed the way it was done there for the same reason. The public comment needs to be offered prior to votes being made. So, and I spoke with a commissioner from Marshall County, said, how do you do it? He said, we approve the agenda. That's one of the first things after they, I think that's the very first thing. They approve the agenda. Right after the agenda is approved, they move to public comment on any items that have been put on the agenda. This makes sense. This is how it should be done. So I would like as a board of commissioners to recommend and suggest that our public comment be done at the beginning of the meetings. There's no point in anyone coming if you don't have a say in the vote, or if you can't give your opinion. We were elected by all of you to represent you. And if we don't ever hear from you, we represent ourselves. I don't think that has gone very well for the past 5 years, at least as long as I've been attending. We were elected by the people. People should have the voice. We should be doing what the people of Pulaski County are asking us to do, not personal agendas or more. So I would hope, and you know, Mike and Don, I just emailed to you earlier today after speaking with Marshall County, getting information from someone on the Pulaski County School Board, or Eastern Pulaski School Board, that is how they do it. And I'd like to recommend that we change our order to have public comment after the agenda has been approved. That is.
I think that makes sense.
It just makes sense.
The one item I'd like to point out to you, Jared, is that there is a relatively new Indiana code where school corporations are required to have public comment prior to the decision. Not saying it's right or wrong, but that's part of.
Okay.
And then part of Indiana code, how things are done. Public comment I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying public comment is not required for regular meetings. Hearing is totally different. Than getting public comment before a hearing. So I think that's something for us to discuss in the future, think about. But I just want to point out that's required by the Indiana code for the school. That developed as a result of COVID. Okay.
I think as best practice, and because of the state of our county currently, when it comes to feeling like they're not being heard and breakdown in trust, there's very little trust currently between the public and the elected officials, that it would be in the best interest of the county as a whole to provide that, regardless of whether it's code or required or not. It is best practice, and as we represent you, I cannot, for the life of me, find a reason why it would not be done unless it is inconvenient for us to hear what the public has to say. That would be the only reason. If what you are saying is inconvenient to personal decisions, agendas, and of course, we don't want to hear from you, but it should not be that way. So for best practice, I think it needs to be that way.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I could be. I think we've had public comment even every time. The only time we've not allowed for public comment, I'm not talking about the order, but public comment has been in the morning because of drainage board.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And we've also made comment to that ahead of time. So I'm just explaining,
Right.
that's the reason behind that.
Right.
So.
And I understand that. I do think that we could suspend our meeting prior to adjourning if we do have to have that drainage board, or again, we move our drainage board meeting back a little bit further. And why we could not do that. But we can suspend our meeting that's in progress. I just think when people take the time to come to these meetings, they want to express an opinion, they need to be afforded that opportunity.
Very good point.
Yeah, thank you. Mike, you have a question for me?
Oh, I don't know if the solar panels are the greatest thing in the world. I've got some, they work good. They take care of part of our electric bill, and it's the people's property. They ought to be able to do whatever they want as long as they don't involve the neighbor. As long as they keep the roads up, the drainage up, I really don't see a problem.
Don, you got anything for me?
I think we've discussed a lot of things prior, Harvey. There's some things that you said that I've tried to explain.
But I'm done. Thank you. What?
I'll say this, I'm sorry that our friendship has dissolved, but this isn't an opportunity to do that. And the individual called me when that flyer came out, and I told him I didn't do it, and I did not support that, nor would anybody. I am not a negative person, and I'm just telling you that. That's the conversation we had, Harvey.
Yes,
So,
but somebody was behind it. Would you agree?
well, someone had to be, Harvey.
You betcha.
And
Yeah.
anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank you, Harvey.
one more sentence. May God bless and protect each one of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Moyer,
Topic of conversation this morning, this evening, is respect. What prompts that is when I passed 2 stones out here coming in, there's a lot of names of people who gave their lives for our Constitution. We also, every one of them, made a pledge to the United States. Pledge for justice for all. They gave everything. That needs to be respected and what they stand for. respect is never commanded. It is always earned. When they try to command it, believe me, might be the people who commanded respect, and they didn't get it, did they? It had to be earned. Trust is much the same thing, parallel to respect. By your position, you deserve respect. But respect is often lost. It's not earned. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Kramer? Yes, sir.
You'll have to excuse my non-computer, non-technological skills, all right?
Okay.
So I got a piece of that to print off. Each one y'all get a copy. So what this is I'll let you have this. This is the master. This has all the same pictures, all the same words, it's just the pictures. It's all from the same website.
Gotcha.
This is concerning. Okay. So you can pass that about. This work?
All three of them should be on there.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what this is in regards to is the misunderstanding that we've always had battery storage in Pulaski County, specifically the old A.T. facility just outside of Pulaski. What that facility was, is it is decommissioned through A.T. It was a long line junction building that they had many of these throughout the country. They were EMP shielded during the Cold War era. What EMP is electromagnetic pulse. And there is two ways that it happens. One way is natural through a major solar flare, happened in 1859 called the Carrington event. And when that happened, it actually disrupted the telegraph system. Now, in the 1850s, 60s, 70s, electricity and disruption to electrical systems wasn't a major deal because it was the 1870s. But if something like that were to happen in today's age, it would totally throw us back to the 1870s. And the only other way that EMP happens is a foreign adversary detonates a nuclear device in the upper atmosphere above a continent, so to speak, and it disrupts the electromagnetic field of Earth and causes the same type of situation as a solar flare. And it would disrupt multiple communications, electrical systems, modern cars, old ones, pre-70 would still run, and stuff protected in a Faraday cage, which is what these buildings are. It's basically essentially a big Faraday cage. They were never battery storage. They had their own generation system for diesel engines down in the third tier that would actually keep these switching connection devices going. And it was, like I said, it was crucial to the War Department and to telecommunications during the Cold War era. They had all these, they were all over, they stationed them all over the country in rural areas because they didn't want people knowing what they were. But with the advent of cell phones and fiber optics, they've been rendered obsolete. And a lot of times what happens is people known as survivalists or preppers buy these things up for X amount of millions of dollars and make it whatever they want. And that's actually where that information come from, is that's what that is. But that tells all about it. And like I said, I just want to dispel the myth that it was battery storage. It never was. So in essence, Pulaski County has never had battery storage.
And I always thought they had batteries down there to keep the AT&T line up in case there was.
If they were probably small, but I know in a previous site, I saw that there was actually a diesel generator the size of this podium in the basement.
Well, I think they're LP generator.
Well, probably.
But anyhow, because there's 100,000 gallon LP tank out.
Well, that is what's currently, see, actually currently there's like 3 phases of generation. There is an LP generator. There's one that comes off, a solar one that's just mounted for that situation. And so, but originally it could have been LP, it could have been
Yeah,
diesel,
but-
but there was a big
Yeah.
generator the size of this deal
Yeah.
here, so.
Anyhow, I just always told the big storage, took it for granted that they.
Right,
had it.
right.
So
Well, like I
it-
said-
It was my misunderstanding.
No,
of
no,
50
and
years
I'm just
of living
clarifying,
around.
right. But yeah, that's what it was. It was basically, think of it as a big
This
junction
is
block.
interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love history. I love war history and
Yeah.
everything. But it was, basically think of it as a big junction block that is protected against EMP. And also it has springs on it too, like, Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah, for earthquake. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is. I just wanted to clarify it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
And it's a little history, you know, everybody likes a little history, so.
I
Thank you.
learned
Have a good
something.
evening.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Auditor?
Battery. Or use AT&T.
Good evening, everybody. So all I have for you tonight are courthouse project updates. Still no new change orders. As far as project financing go, we are still hovering just under $35,000 on our owner's contingency. I do anticipate having to move some of that into our IT line item. The exact amount is seen. We have just shy of $60,000 remaining in our other allocation, so we're right about $95,000 left in our budget, notwithstanding the architect and construction lines, which don't have as much flexibility with, obviously, as everything else. Fund and Blank still has about $300,000 in their construction contingency. Some of that will be used to cover the recent roof leak repairs, forthcoming window caulking, and a few other odds and ends before they're able to release the remaining funds. As far as any questions on finance for project progress, everyone other than Taylor and me have moved in, and all of their move-related IT work has, to my knowledge, been completed. All of the delayed door slabs have arrived and been installed, with the exception of the first and north doors, where we still have temporary. Panic alarm buttons and the support equipment have all been installed and connected to the existing network in the Justice Center. Actually have two of them, I think, at the table there, and then we have some in the drawers here, so if we have an incident done, I even just somebody who was out of behavior training, taking fighting, whatever, you hit that button in front of you now, or in front of the seat. It's there, that will automatically send out messages to any county employee in either of these buildings who opted in to email alerts, text alerts, or both, to the sheriff's office radio system into this. So right now we have those in this building and the Justice Center all in the same network. So if there are issues involved wireless, we used to have it in the system just that is all wired. So that is all. And company who coordinated the installation sold the program to us. I get weekly email updates every Monday morning that let us know if there are any low batteries that need to be replaced, as well as if any sensors aren't being picked up. Now, that doesn't mean they're not working. It's just might be that particular sweep. It doesn't show up. The next one it does. This morning, every single one of them picked up, which I think is the first time I've ever seen that happen. But, so we have weekly updates on the status of the program. We believe that all of the late discovered roof leaks have been repaired. Ton and Blank had their quality guy in. They were up running hoses, brought in Midland, the roofing contract up, appears to be corrected, and so now there's just some plaster and paint repair done, like right there, where there's 12 months of this whole thing, and we're almost ready to wrap it up. We have a handful of smaller tasks still remaining, but are slowly closing in on as the project wrap up.
delivery and installation of the day 2 furniture order, which is scheduled for next Friday, the 7th of October. A small day 3 furniture order, which will be submitted this week. Placing this bench with a more appropriately sized table and or podium. I've been working with all the furniture restorations and furniture supplier Luminon. I don't know if we will do a podium, a table, or a table with a partial podium on it. Have some potential options for furniture we already have. If a furniture guy can add a piece to accommodate the technical down here, that might be the ideal scenario. As it is, if somebody in a wheelchair or scooter has to come to have them here with us with a table, and we can simplify that a little bit. We are working on both of those avenues, trying to find something that will replace this appropriately and reduce some of the visual issues. Addressing a few door swing and signage issues related to fire safety. We have a couple where existing conditions at the top of the reception, basically the first floor, door swings to the first floor, and we use a swing towards the stairs for fire safety. On blank, we'll have a carpenter here, as well as superintendent next week, and I think that is all there is to try to look into it. Ordering and installing additional signage, both interior and exterior. Paint touch-ups, both where we have these and a few other places. Adjusting, we've been lucky, there's been enough movement in here. When I was working in here today, I had to get up and go on a chair a couple of times because of the automatic light sensors. So we're gonna have those adjusted. Updating some combination locks on vault doors, and possibly budget permitting, adding 1 or 2 more webcams in this room. We only have one. The original objective to have was have one mounted on one of these walls so that people watching YouTube could see my face when I'm talking. Those could see what you were seeing instead of just seeing my backside. There were just some questions about whether we could fit that in the budget. As we wrap it in, once we have our construction contingency release, we're going to look into whether one for that purpose, and potentially one, as once I discuss it with the low voltage text and actually do dedicated Zoom. Right now, we do have BESS engineering representatives on Zoom, and we are actually pumping the Zoom into YouTube, and that works. My only concern is that under the new state law regarding live streaming, technically, when I log on to where the live stream is, I'm supposed to be able to find access to the meeting agenda, that sort of thing. And if I run it through Zoom first, I can go back to YouTube and edit that after the fact. But somebody on YouTube right now cannot look at the description and click to see where the agenda is. And so I need to figure out the best way to make sure that we're playing that. So as soon as this meeting's over, I can go, I'll link to the county website and I'll make those adjustments. Right now, I can't do that if we need Zoom unless we use Zoom separate. Right now, the way to do that is you have cords that plugs into one of these computers under here, to one of these TVs, and I could set our camera from behind the right there and do the trick of we're getting back into this cords and things that are. We can do that short term, long term, we're going to look into what I'm doing. So any questions on project progress? Right then, just so you guys, I know Donna's aware of this. About a month in, we had our first problem with the building today. We had a plumbing issue. Instructor Weaver was going to plumbing issue that started, I think, with the clerk's fault. We eventually realized it was a building-wide problem. And water really sinks. Wastewater crew here in town, using a camera to explore the super pipe under 30th Street manhole for a clean out. See no issues from there. So a plumbing contractor sent a technician who was in Rensselaer over to investigate. And it appears to have been caused by a paper block. So I haven't talked to the technician for long enough to know if it's an installation issue or if somebody flushed something that should not have flushed. I will be there to get the information tomorrow. They did clean that out and everything's working properly. That was kind of we don't have a sound system besides the fact that it's only a month. We don't have a sound system highway project. Would have been hard pressed. Any questions?
It happened a little before 4 o'clock.
Yes, it was. I actually spent the last couple of hours working here, working in this room, so that I could be around for the meeting.
The bond for the renovation of the courthouse. You, maybe, I know you probably don't know this off the top of your head, but maybe you can find out the first, it's a bond, so when's the first call date for that? I didn't expect you to, but just thought of that. The first call date. That would allow one to pay it off or but because it's a bond, it's a
I believe
period.
that this is a conversation we had with the Justice Center. I don't know because this is a lease rental bond and not a GO bond. There are some differences in the rules, but I know for the Justice Center, GO bond, it's 10 years before we can pay it off.
That's part of code.
But I don't know about,
Lease.
I don't know if there's any different rules with the lease rental bond. There's 3 board of director members of the building corporation who don't actually see any of the money. They might get pretty angry to try to take that interest.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Nixon. John, for recycling and transfer station?
Pricing proposal as per requested last meeting. See some change. Great control to 0.
Yeah, if you could go over it, we appreciate it.
Okay. Last year, just basing this off like 24 hours. Looking at where I'm at with this year I'm looking at like $100, $109. So in 2024, the transfer station received $2,175,580. Transfer station revenue was $182,074.02. Recycling by itself, this revenue was $92,807.31. If you go by those numbers, commissioners would need to raise the current transfer rate from 7 cents to 12 cents a pound. This increase would theoretically bring the revenues up to the 2024 expenditures of $356,972.40 for both recycling and transportation. But I would caution you that such an increase will have an effect on the volume of business that will come to the transfer station. Because if we raise that price that high, this will result in the exact same deficit. And I've got the numbers for the but the last time we had price increase in 2022, it was a significant drop off. This rate increase will be exactly the same.
John, was that drop off consistent? I mean, was it a one-time boom and then it slowly came back up, or did it stay there?
It pretty much stayed there. So I put in my daily numbers every day, so I can see what we bring in per month. And then I look at past months, I can go back to 2019, I believe it's the first month we started collecting. And 2022, prior to that, it's hard to tell because COVID threw our numbers big time because so many people were home, cleaning out things, doing repairs and remodeling things, that it threw our numbers. That makes sense because we had so much more business. So it's really not fair to throw in late 2020 and 2020. So
Skewed a lot of things, for sure. Do we you know how many people out of county bring items to the transfer station? Is that a different?
No, but I would say that probably at least half of our business is out of county.
What does other counties charge somewhat local county? Got any idea?
So the last meeting, that was reviewed. The board, transportation, it was 12 cents. White county felt like it's 10 cents. But I would also caution you that those are counties that have a much higher population.
Yeah, but a pound's a pound, no matter what.
And even our surrounding counties. And they're used to higher prices.
Higher prices. So the people who are not going to be using Pulaski County services because of a rate increase are doing what with their garbage? I mean, they're not going to take it to a county that's.
They're just going to get trash. You're going to have
They're going-
Ally or Republic or something like that. Because there's no advantage to the right. Transportation was basically designed to be a place where somebody could bring trash, items to the trash. Put out mattress next to the trash. Yeah, pick it up and just clean. So other, items, garage, those are the typical kind of ways people were cleaning out home. Investment companies are buying out homes and cleaning them out.
What I hear you saying, I just want to make sure I hear this correctly. If the prices are raised, they're going to find another source to get their private. So the private company obviously is not charging. They're going to that. Right?
People are going to, like, just to say, we have a lot of customers who bring like one white kitchen bag, every day. So if they bring in that bag, over on our scale, it's 50 cents. So 50 cents over 30 days versus $45, the cheapest rate. So, it saves.
Saying it's to bring a bag a day to you as opposed to go with the private. But people are still opting for, you're saying if you raise that rate, they'll go with the private rather than pay the rates that we would have.
That's another problem.
You have less trash to get rid of, correct?
That's all
A
bad.
lot of our expenses that are the same no matter what. Obviously, transportation doesn't involve a lot of cost. All trash,
Your tire prices at the bottom, 4 to 5, 8 to 10. How's that compared to other counties? You know, okay.
Walmart, $2. We have a lot of places who don't, truckloads of semi tires. Cheap compared. Same with $4 tires. But again, once the tires are pitched, it's a market price.
We talked before about a different price for people out of county trash. Is that an option? That out of county people having to pay a surcharge to be able to use the station?
Sure. I don't know the force of the short. Fortunately, the license plates aren't that reliable.
But a driver's license would be, correct? I would rather see something like that rather than tax residents.
So that's one
Yeah.
of our, point has been made tonight several times, clearly, that we're turning money away from this county. But yet we're picking on my department, other departments for penny. We're running it for solar. Now, I've asked you guys, why has there been no proposal to ask these companies coming into our county to donate or contribute to recycling? This is gonna be a green county, recycling. And you're gonna bring in green energy, it only makes sense to do this together.
How would you propose that?
I think the solar companies, I talked to them already. Would just be a matter of making a request to them, saying, hey, help offset the cost of this. That's right. It's easy. It's easy to do, but the request is you guys, not me. Really know if you're turning away money. You want to turn around and basically effectively tax citizens.
I think you made a good point.
The recycling part, John, a lot of people have talked to me about the recycling is truly only in the county seat, not the other three towns. Granted, they might have turned that down, or there might have been issues as well with that. But I do not believe that a lot of people understand that. Would you be willing to go to those three communities, talk to them about recycling?
I would, but I also just have an increase in our.
Are you talking to them?
No, I'm not talking to them, but if I want to know what's containers like we used to. One of the reasons why we have not. Trash generators. Increasing our cost.
Don't you think I believe we owe it to our communities, other than the county seat, to offer recycling. If we're going to have recycling, I think it needs to be throughout. So I think a communication to them would be helpful. I think that we need, as commissioners, to consider the prices for that. I do believe out of county, however that's police, probably driver's license, the best way, because license plates sometimes don't change residence. I do think we need to look at something like that. I understand trash might decrease. Jenny made a very good point about, if John brought it up, they might go to a Republic or another organization, but that would, at least they're getting rid of their trash. That's what is believed to be. Yes.
Right.
And I never know how that's going to work, right? With that. I just, people, department has lost a lot of money. Not that I personally believe it needs to make money, but I think we need to look at ways to balance that out. I understand that it's a service business and it does help clean up the county, but what are we doing price-wise to make it somewhat still affordable, but yet not being subsidized? You brought up some good points about the solar companies, but that's a decision made at a later date by council and others. They have economic payments. And solar and other organizations might be willing to pay for that as well. I think we need to, we appreciate you bringing this to us. I do think you provide a good service, but I think people in our county need to be aware. And I think that it needs to be offered throughout the county as well.
Yeah.
But I'd also say that most people come to town. There's other people who come, right, so they're, you see right there. They don't come.
Could you look into or, or get information on what other counties are charging outside residents? Trash? Okay, I thought at our last, we talked about the counties that charging
You
surcharge.
were, yeah, you're asking what Cass County and White County,
Right.
Jasper, Marshall might be charging, right?
So you're not aware of any changes for outside residents, outside of,
I understand. With that, because there's so few. Could you check with Delphi?
well, I appreciate all the information.
I agree. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
John.
Next on our agenda is BS updates.
Good evening,
Tim
Commissioners. Can you hear us?
available? Tim on?
Can you hear us all right?
Tim's on the upper left-hand corner.
Hello, hello.
Both on.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes.
While they're trying to connect, we do have, appreciate Teresa, I believe she sent it, that First Amendment to Agreement for Payment of Third-Party Compliance Monitoring. This is Mammoth South LLC, Mammoth Central LLC, Mammoth Central, contributing an additional $100,000 to a total of $350,000 for VS monitoring. That is paid to the county and put into an account, correct, Teresa?
That's correct.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the First Amendment to the agreement for the county and Mammoth enter into this agreement for a payment of a third-party compliance monitoring service for an additional $100,000. Yes,
I had
sir.
a quick thought about that. I realize that it's written with that 100 in there. It seems to me it might be advisable to see if Doral would be amenable to changing that from 100,000 to 117,500. And I say that because the way this agreement is set up, they're paying that 5% surcharge. So if it's only at 350, we're not actually getting $350,000 worth of services out of VS covered. We're only getting $333,333.33 worth of services. But if we amend that to total to 367.5, then we're actually getting $350,000 worth of work out of it.
Nathan, have you talked to Darrell, attorney, about this? I'm sorry. Jacob.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah, I had sent back in, I'm trying to think, the very end of August, had sent correspondence with Attorney Shellman regarding the increased expenditure. I did get a message from Tim regarding some funding, I guess, not really concerns, but more updates. And that I believe they're at, as of today, 320,000. And they anticipate that to last through October, but would need additional funds before Thanksgiving. And so, you know, that's something that will need to be updated with Mr. Shellman, which I can reach out to him tonight after the meeting via email to discuss that.
Recommend we continue with this?
As far as,
this particular amendment for the 100,000?
I just want to make sure I'm looking at the same thing. Make sure my notes reflect that.
Can you hear me up? Oh,
Nathan? Jacob. That's how I understood you. Yes. Yeah, which will be eaten up very soon.
Yes, and it sounds like, you know, I'm sure Tim could probably speak more on this than I could, or more intelligently anyways. But if they're at I believe as of today, they're at 320. If that caps at 350, I would imagine, given the progress of the project, that's not going to be lasting long.
It took a while to get this situated correctly.
Yes. And Tim may be on now to fill in.
Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear us?
I hear you perfect. Can you hear me? Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Hi. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
And one thing while he's working on that, Tim did send me an email with some notes and I've reviewed this previously, that VS there's not a limit with the county between VS and the county. It's with concerning
Hello,
reimbursement.
hello.
So it's concerning so what we're talking about is reimbursement by the developer.
Right.
Because there isn't a limit between VS and the county.
Correct.
We're talking about funds that are reimbursable, just so that everybody's clear on that.
Can you hear me now?
Oh my.
Hello?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hey, you can hear me. Yay. Okay. What questions do you have in terms of that agreement? Everything Jacob said was spot on.
Do you suggest we go ahead and approve it and work on
So
the funds later?
I would suggest moving forward with this, but understand that we will need to go back to the table. You all will need to go back to the table and work with the developer to ensure that no expense is coming from the county for our services. Right now, this will get us through October, hopefully through Thanksgiving, but I think we'll need something before then. So right now we're at 320, which is 70,000 over the original amount. And so that 70,000 is coming out of the county's budget. So this 100 will cover that and a little bit extra while the details get worked out.
Teresa, have you already issued payment from the county? Well, that would be council, that right?
Say that again?
Has any payment from the county been made to BS?
Yes, because we've been receiving the payments. Yes, we have been
Correct,
making
but-
payments.
But we're already over budget, so this money that is still owed to VS over the original 250,000, has the county paid any of that out of county?
No,
No.
no.
So let me clarify the billing. So we are usually 1 month behind our billing. I believe my finance team just sent or is going to be sending the next invoice that's going to be for 280,000. I logged into our system before this meeting to see where we are at to date. So as of today, as of before today, the time that's recorded is the 320,000. So we're in a weird window with how our billing cycle works. So we're almost like 2 months behind where we normally bill. So the next invoice she will review will be for 280,000. And then the following one will be more than 320, but currently as of today, that's where we sit.
Is that's accruing bill? That's not a misunderstanding. The payment.
So let me, as of September 11th's bill that we're invoicing up to, it's going to be 288,000 for that date. From September 11th until today, we're at now 330,000
That's total, correct?
Total.
total.
Okay.
And we've not been billed for all that yet, but that's what they recorded. is how I understand it.
But we have been billed for some of that, correct?
Yes, you have been billed. I can get that number.
Right.
248,000. Hold on. Yes, 248,000 or 49.
Okay.
So this next invoice that you will be receiving is going to be over the agreed amount with Mammoth. So this agreement will cover that. So there's no county money being spent on this. Or the county money that's spent is reimbursed.
Right.
And that until that agreement's signed or a new one's revised, that they're only responsible up for 250,000.
Needs to be.
Teresa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's all, because of how you're making the payments out of the fund for BS engineering. If their billing for the Mammoth project exceeds what we've received from Mammoth from that right now, I think a couple of the other solar projects are probably actually subsidizing that bill until we get more money in, because I know that Lightsource BP has made several payments and has incurred minimal invoicing thus far. So it's not coming out of the county general, it's just a different solar project is subsidizing that until they get caught up with the next payment from Doral to. I don't think Teresa is ever having to pull money out of like the commissioner's budget to purchase that.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
My only concern with that would be, what happens if those projects don't happen? That money's been used from other solar projects, or is that money just for the county regardless of?
That I can't answer, but at least depending on how long we're able to keep negotiating with Doral to increase their ceiling.
Right.
It's getting refunded. So if we had to cover part of Doral's with $5,000 from the Mammoth project, as soon as Doral sends their next EFT, that should go back in there. So it should be untouched other than services actually incurred by the Mammoth.
For a while. For a while. All right. You have a report for us? Yes.
I do. So for the Mammoth project, as I emailed earlier today, County Road 500 South, that work has been completed and it's reopened. We have been continuing some coordination with the treasurer, auditor, and the assessors on various items. We could plan on continuing that coordination in the coming weeks. Since our last meeting, we have issued 2 additional fines. The fines now exceed 97,000. Now, this is for the road use violations. We do have a last notice we're sending them to review the next 25 violations. We're giving them to the following week. At that time, we will be issuing the next fine. There is an outstanding question that Commissioner Jenny asked me about 200 North and 600 West. We are investigating with the developer and we will relay as soon as I get an update. Casey was on rotation, so I imagine he's playing catch up today.
Thank you.
The developer had a public open house last week. We were not in attendance, but we were informed the attendance was over 70 people and the feedback was very informational. 2 weeks ago, we had an emergency service meeting, which had a very strong turnout from the county's emergency services with fire, police, and medical. There was discussions of procedures, and then new attendees did site visits. The surveyor's concern about the Agnew ditch has been addressed and the fences have been moved. And then we had received noise complaints, like the road violations, the road speedings we've received. We relay that to the sheriff's office as that's their responsibility to enforce. So as we get those, we're sure to relay that. So that is the Mammoth, and I will pause for any questions.
Over.
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. I will go through the other three quickly because they are shorter and not as complex. However, we do have updates. So for Mayapple, we have had our initial alignment meeting between them and the Mammoth teams. The next one scheduled for the end of October. There was action items for both parties on how they coordinate between. With their new schedule, coordination should be smoother, but we will see as we get closer to the Mayapple team starting in 2026. And then we have a progress meeting with them coming up and we've coordinated with Carla in the building department on various items. Moss Creek, we did not have any updates on this one at this time, but we do have a progress meeting with them coming up. And then Bottle Brush, we had a progress meeting with Evergy and we got an update on their construction schedule. So they're planning to begin next summer and have pre-construction activities starting next spring. I said that backwards, so I apologize if that was confusing. So, and that is the majority of, that was all of our updates. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any, the best that I can.
Questions? Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Was there any other questions in terms of the agreement?
No, we appreciate your clarification and how your billing works as well. So thank you.
Very good. Well, we're happy to help any way we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to approve the First Amendment to the agreement for payment of a third-party compliance monitoring service.
I'll second the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, I thought you said
I
I thought you just made it.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the First Amendment to agreement for payment of third-party compliance monitoring service. Any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
I'd like to ask Don, because of the amount of time it took at this one.
I would suggest that, and I will get with Tim to try to get an idea of a realistic number from him that would be sufficient to get us through to the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, response to the P.C.A.P.C moratorium on BESS. The last commissioner meeting, they made a recommendation for a 12-month. We're recommending a 6-month. More specific language is that the moratorium is battery energy BESS only and does not include solar. The moratorium would be for 6 months only instead of 12 months. So we approve that, working with Jacob and Carla. This needs to be in writing, so we have this in writing tonight for approval. So I'll make a motion to approve this reply back to the Pulaski County A.P.C based on their proposal.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
2-1. Next, reappointment of Adam Bennett to Board of Trustees of the Pulaski Memorial Hospital. So this is a recommendation from the hospital. Traditionally works this way. His term would begin January 1st, 2026 and conclude December 31st, 2029.
I'll make appointment to have Adam Bennett on before the Pulaski Memorial Hospital.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the reappointment of Adam Bennett to the Board of Trustees of Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Good. Larry here,
He is not.
okay, to discuss the Justice Center ductwork estimate. Maybe you could help us out there.
Sure. So when I talked to him earlier today, he stated that he wouldn't be able to be here tonight. So he had sent you all a estimate from J&K regarding some work that needs to be done at the Justice Center that will help repair the circulation and humidity issues that they're having and have been having for a little while, quite a while. He is wanting to get your approval to move forward with this.
Remind us of the quote price.
Yes, J&K Services is saying that for the Justice Center, the following quote is for labor and material to install galvanized return air ducts for 2 8.5-ton rooftop units. A new ductwork will connect the existing return air duct to the transfer ducts. Ceiling grid will be removed and reinstalled for installation of ductwork. And the estimate is $20,000.
You get one from anybody else?
It does not look like it. That I'm not sure.
20,000 quotes.
Trying to wrap, my memory is I think the statute's 25 and under is what sticks out in my mind. So if it's 20, I think you're okay, but I can look and confirm that.
We need 3 quotes though.
But that's what I'm saying is under the public, but I know there's a dollar amount for whatever reason, 25,000 sticking out to where anything above that you would need the 3. So I'm gonna try to pull that if you want to circle back around to it.
Yes.
Is this the ductwork that Judge Walker, is this what we're referring to?
My understanding is that there is still outstanding a dehumidifier also that needs to be installed that was ordered and paid for last June.
Jenny, what this is, I think as Larry explained it to me, dating to the original construction of the building in the late 90s. Somehow we only now learn that when they installed these particular rooftop units, they just did not install the ductwork. And so that is why, as we learned last year, so the judges having group committee issues that apparently a lot of the building was happening. It's in part because when they built it, they did not install the ductwork in this part of the building.
So they had the unit, they just didn't move the air from the unit anywhere.
Apparently so. Yeah, and so it's been like this for roughly 30 years.
Has the problem, well, no, Mary, your problems that you've had are,
We just moved over there 3
Okay.
years and a couple months ago, but we had, I did it the entire time.
but it,
J&K has told us it's not our, it's all in our heads until last year when, there was approval for a dehumidified unit that ordered by us, paid for by us, but not ordered by J&K. Last time we were still waiting.
how long ago has that been?
That was almost a year, 10 months.
That you ordered it and
We
paid
didn't,
for it?
I didn't order it. I don't have that kind of money in my budget, but
The county did, from my understanding, is that they're back ordered, like a lot of
So it's
things,
just-
right?
But Nathan, you're saying that this could be part of that sort of humidity problem?
I don't know if it's affecting the humidity issue in the judges' chambers quarters at all, but in the original part of the building, that seems to be not all of it. The bulk of it was that when they built it, they did not do all the HVAC work.
And I do have an answer for you
Yes,
on the bids. It's 50,000. So if it's under 50, then you don't need the 3 bids.
Unfortunately, I have been in other buildings that had this as well. Something's 20, 30 years old, and you wonder why, and something was not installed many years ago, so.
So the money for this, Nathan, is this what you said to come out of the, or not?
So this would come out of that excess interest that the county wanted to pay for. I know we've talked about her building and its needs, but this would be another example of an eligible cost. It has to go to public facilities, can't go into this building.
I have not.
156.20 could come out of that rather than out of the maintenance budget or another. That's what the commissioners want.
I know there's a little over 200,000 in the interest that has been approved.
200,000 in the
Mhm.
interest. Yeah, we've done this long, right?
Yeah.
I don't know all the details, maybe Teresa does, although she's only been on this. I think there is some sort of contractual relationship between the county and JJ. I don't know the nature of it, but I think that's why that is the default contractor for all our HVAC work, is that maintenance and has some sort of written agreement with them.
Let's
So-
table it.
Make a motion.
I make a motion to table it until we get our ducks.
Good. Motion, second.
Second
Motion and second to table. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed. So Teresa, will you please follow up with Larry in the morning
I sure
with
will.
that, with some of those questions? Thank you. Improvement to West Annex. Hello.
Well, during budget time, I asked about having some positions that were really needed tonight. And I talked about the way it needs to be, the lights. During that time, I was told about our building. But some of the, I talked to Nathan also about some of the days that we wanted to do. Our gutters are falling off, or gates are falling down around the P.C.A.P.C units. My security system goes out all the time. I don't know. Right now, so, and maybe, I guess just need to see what you guys think we should do, or if there's a plan.
I truly believe that East Annex and the West Annex are somewhat money pits because of their age and condition with that. I personally believe that we need to evaluate if it's better to renovate. And I know you're here West Annex, but if we look at the East Annex, we have Purdue Extension in there, and we have the health department there. You're going to the health department, you have to take a lift up there. And I personally don't think that's right, a temporary position. I think we need to look at renovating the West Annex or doing something totally different. That maybe look at building something that's affordable that could house these people, these groups that we have, departments that we have. I think that's a discussion that that we need to have with the county council. And I also believe it needs to be part of a comprehensive plan for us. It's not right that these buildings are in the condition that they're in, and we need to do something about that.
I mean, I'm trying to park into the building, it's big enough to have my stuff in there. Storage stuff, I got stuff down in the garage still, but my C.D.C.
Mhm.
I have to go through things that got right on that from some of the roofs, and they're still, I saw a lot. That building is big enough to be able to do it, but
You think we're looking at just a contractor coming in, or do you think this needs to be an architect engineers coming in to review things.
The blocks are falling off. Door, it does take a lot of work, but.
I honestly, personally, I would like to see before put money into come up several times on the
East.
annex. Been in the building times, so that very dark, in my opinion, looking at it. It needs structural, architectural changes. I would also possibly like to see those departments housed together. Way to do that, okay? Department extension, something. Look at that as a, I think we need to look at all of our options, cost, all of that. Putting it.
These older buildings, to me, are unusual.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
if you walk in there, you can't see the annex. These steps, doors, elevator, $1 million for the elevator. Better make it ADA compliant. Everything, I think we could sell both those buildings, build a new user-friendly building for everybody. Money ahead.
We just have to weigh the cost
Yeah.
with that, and what we could do.
Earlier this year. So it's a little bit, actually much better than it was. The lights are, yeah. They gas the light. The whole chandelier. That's really the only upgrade.
I would just like to see us investigate some options.
In
Cost-wise.
our joint session, we'll discuss these two or three buildings, comprehensive plan. I personally believe it should be in there for us to develop some things. And be cost effective. We have the funds and get rid of those, sell those two buildings, and do something else. I think it would be much healthier, safer, utilize space a little bit better. And that's what I'm hearing from two of you as well. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before what else we got? Nope.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so our meeting notices that I had put out at the highway that showed what days we have meetings for both, for our commissioners and as well as our joint and joint meetings and council meetings. I've revamped it because of course now we're back in the courthouse. So I was hoping to make sure that our new public notice now says that we will be in here for all of these meetings and need a
Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the change in the location for future.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Also, Teresa, do you have anything else?
Nope, I think that's all.
I'd like to congratulate the Uptown Project, which is the Main Street organization in Francisville. The Francisville Historic Commercial District was listed on the National Register. It contains over 40 buildings. That includes 4 church buildings, the historic Carnegie Library, the post office, and the Town Hall Fire Station. The district's historic period of significance spans nearly 100 years, from 1887 through 1967, dating from the earliest to the latest. There's several different architectural styles and designs. So congratulate, and we thank the Uptown Project for making this, doing this journey. They've started in the early 2023. So Francisville has a historic commercial district that is listed on the National Register. So congratulations. So at this time, we will have public comment. We ask that you please come to the podium, your name, your residence. We ask that you please limit your comments to approximately 2 minutes.
Lambert, down in Township. Add Fulton County to the list of counties that do commission meetings to fully explain what's going to be voted on, which discussion. There is public comment and most of. I think the public will appreciate that. There have been, prior to you commissioners, there have been meetings I've gone to in the past, and I left wondering what just happened, what was just voted on. So I appreciate you having more discussion. I'm not going to, next thing, I'm not going to beat this A.T.T, but I've got a gentleman, even I think really enjoyed talking to him. He is a neighbor of mine, and he was one of the 6 men that worked for the duration of the A.T.T project in Pulaski. And visited with him, and he kind of gave me some explanation on that. It was one of many from the East Coast to the West Coast. And the purpose of those was long distance communication between coasts and through the country. And it was interesting, he said every 4 miles there was a manhole that they go down to service. So between like the Pulaski type installations, every 4 miles until the next one, there was a manhole that if there was an issue, they would go down into that and repair. And he was one of the 6 men that worked there. And basically, I think it was 67 until the 70s. So the first backup was fuel. There was a large fuel tank that was buried, and it had a 30-day supply of fuel, just in case there was an atomic attack. He mentioned doors, the humongous heavy doors that slowly closed and opened just to get into the facility. So it was really airtight, very sufficient for anyone that had to be. The second backup was batteries. So it wasn't actually a BESS system, but they had, I think, about 24 batteries and 4 strings. And then that was the second backup. I don't believe, I think he said that they never had to use that. So just a little background. If you'd like to talk with me, it's really nice.
Oh, when I went through apprentice school up there, but I was out of town. So they all, was a lot of fighting.
My grandfather.
It's shut down now.
My grandfather was a lawyer. A lot of buildings for the university. He worked on all the buildings at Twin Lakes, school buildings there. He also worked on this project. He lived directly across the river. And a couple of times he rode his boat across the river to go to work. But the stream was pretty strong, so he gave that up. Anyway, so just a little background. Final thing, I'm running out of time. It was mentioned at the last commissioners meeting that you fight and you don't get anything done. That doesn't bother me in the least. I don't look at you and think that you have to rubber stamp and have the same train of thought that you don't have to agree. I've been on church boards, I've been on school committees, and we had dissension, disagreement, maybe some fights, and it all came together. And that's how you should be. If we're kind of used to some commissioners that there was really no discussion, no dissension, and it's all total agreement. And that's really not the way it should be, because you all represent different areas, different thoughts, different people. So, you want to fight a little bit, it's fine with me. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Gail.
Anyone else?
Okay. Rochelle's building. But the first is that we are having our class. It's going to be running from 10:26 through 12:14, and that is from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And there are still 14 spots available for our local first responders to receive that certification for free for the NIPSCO grant that we received last year. So that is available on ACADIS, and the number is 0342. The second, I live in Rochelle's building from time to time, and our campus is fairly large. We don't utilize a lot of the land. So I don't know how Rochelle will feel about that, but there is room on our campus if she wanted to join us or expand with us. So we both utilize training spaces, we both use large spaces. So I just thought I would let it be known because people work hand in hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick, my wife's told me, on the video, they were talking about health, like decibels emitted from the battery storage. Another thing that's maybe often overlooked is E.M.F, EMR, electromagnetic frequencies, electromagnetic radiation that has a lot to do as well with proximity, or people that have sensitivities to such EMFs. They can be physically painful, headaches, nausea. Basically, you get a poisoning from it. Like you know, the police and military is an active denial system.
Move that folder down. Just back away a little bit.
Apparently, we can't have John speaking after Rochelle.
Keep your move your folder down, yeah.
Okay, anyway, and those things, frequencies to disperse crowds, they can be painful sensation upon the crowd. So I would ask maybe you guys in the media was throwing something about measuring EMFs and EMRs. There is devices, meters that can read that, like I said, proximity and wavelength, whether it's a large wave or a small wave, close wave or large wave. And they can sometimes there are certain types of actually penetrate the skin and be harmful. So it's a major concern along with decibels. Just to throw that out in the video that you guys get that way. So that's all I have.
Thanks, John.
I gotta go.
I don't know who these third party is, to watch these trucks. That's what it's all for. I think our sheriff's department will do a better job of these guys, because I don't think they know what stop sign is. I mean, these people that's taking care of it, need to put cameras on the stop sign. They got cameras all over the store. Why don't they put it on the stop sign and watch how many go through? It's just ridiculous. And the noise level is just I don't know if you've been out there, Don. Mike, you've been out there?
Oh, yeah, I drive.
I mean, have you heard what they sound like all day long? It's amazing. I mean, it's just, you can't get nothing. You just talk to yourself, whatever. I mean, it's just all day long. I mean, I just think it's really got to pay it. I don't know why, what anymore. The sounds, but, the people that build here, they here. I can think of several that before. A sample of the photo that I tell you, it's just a call. I mean, why would you want any more? I mean, I moved here because I wanted to be nice and quiet. I live on the second. If I wasn't living in the city, I couldn't. But that isn't what I want. And I think there's a lot of other people that feel the same way. And I've never really thought about selling, but I have been like it because it's simple access. It's crazy living out there. You got a Dodge truck, and you go off, go somewhere. I mean, I don't know. It's sad.
Thank you, Bob.
What I would like to do is get a little less on goods. On goods, 120 years ago, my great grandfather came. He was from France, and he was a surveyor by trade. West of Francisville and in Jasper County was small. I used to love when my grandma would tell me the story of how they would get up early. They feed a horse and they water the horse. He passed the south out. And she'd make a trip right here to this very day. And he petitioned to get a ditch out to the moon. And that ditch today called Pulaski. He ended up, he had 4 daughters and 4 sons. And he ended up having a farm. All one of those farms are still in family hands today. Those are goods that they'll be. I see now in this county, just floors. And I don't know where Mike.
He had an emergency. He had an emergency. He'll be back.
Mike made the comment, it would take me a court order to get to town hall meeting. Brandy has suggested town hall meetings. All we would like is to have some dialogue, to have some public comment, to listen. That's all we ask for. Don? I've emailed you guys, Mike has not responded to them, responded to a couple. And it appears that after you did respond to a couple more, I sent one and I wrote and said some things that shouldn't be said. And I think I offended you said. I apologize, I'm gonna say I'm sorry. But how else did we listen to everybody? You know, I don't care whether you are for solar or you aren't for solar, but I looked at your statement, and I guess a lot of this is directed toward you. I'm in your district. So I feel like your statement said that you can't think that you would correct me.
Say that again, Bill.
That your statement that you campaigned on was that you could represent everyone. And then I got the red pack letters, and apparently that's from an outfit out of Nebraska. Why would Nebraska be sending out flyers to live in Alaska? I see you in here with Opal. And we all know where Opal is at today. Global renewables. It just seems like there's a lot of things that have been going on that wouldn't smell fishy. And, you know, it bothers me. what I see happening in this county. I see families divided. I see communities divided. I see churches divided. And it doesn't need to be that way. And here we're talking about more solar and tax abatements. $30 an acre for a farm on the western edge of Jasper County. $22 across the road in Jasper County. Last year, Pulaski County was you give up dollars for a tax abatement, and yet the rest of us that've been here for 20 years and how it really was, we're picking up for those people. That's not right. So I think the very first thing that needs to be done is those 87 ordinances that were taken away by the last commissioners. Those need to be reinstated before anything else takes place. That those were put in place to protect the citizens of Pulaski County. You know, we got an open door policy here. And I think it's time that the residents stand up, speak out, and, you know, I hear property rights. Do I believe in property rights? You bet I do. You know what the good book tells us? You know, you treat others the way you like to be treated. You love your neighbor. That's what communities were built on. Helping your neighbor, doing what you could for your community, not destroying it. So I encourage you, just listen to the people. Town halls, I think, would be good. On you for voting one way or another, just explain your position. Why? This is why I vote for this. I think it's financially. Is money everything? I don't think so. I think the way of life out here in the country is by far better. You know, I've got a son and a grandson that I would love to be able to see. Enjoy what I can do. But I see that's the big word. Thanks.
Dale.
Dale, not that I owe you an explanation, but when I got my picture taken with Dale or Governor Holcomb at the time, I was in Indianapolis at a conference. My wife was with me. Later that day, we went over to the State House because my neighbor and good friend from Francisville, who had also been a school superintendent and a county commissioner, was being recognized by the state of Indiana. During that, after that was over with, a former student of mine, a basketball player, worked security detail for several governors, and he was working that day. We've communicated back and forth. The governor switched, he's retired. But my wife went in there, my wife and I went in there, and we talked to him for about an hour, 45 minutes to catch up. Governor Holcomb came out. He said, if you want to stay, you can get a picture with the governor. Somewhere in my house, and other places, I have a picture of me and Governor Holcomb, obviously. I have a picture with Governor Braun. I have a picture with Governor Pence. Other governors, my first one ever with the governor was Governor Bai when I was coaching basketball and he wanted to play basketball. So I have several pictures with governors, mostly Republican, some a Democrat, but I think it's kind of neat. And it's regardless of what you think, and I didn't owe you that explanation, but now you know. Thank you. Thank you. And there's more, you know, my occupation, I've dealt with a lot of people. And I try to keep up with a lot of those students and their parents. Anyone else?
My first suggestion, I guess, would be, I don't know so I think we'll talk about that. Being able to hear what they're saying will go a long way to progress in that. I know you can mention some additional cameras and such coming in.
So the issue with testing is that I need to have enough people in the room with me to hear from the different speakers. At the same time, when I have our tech people available. So we spent several hours on Thursday and Friday getting the live stream component, everything lined up. We've got, except for when I had to turn down a couple, we've had very clear sound from HostNet on YouTube. But finding the right balance in here is a little bit challenging. I'm thinking we might be better off if we're not using, unless people are very loud projectors, naturally not using the podium, because sitting down, they get a little bit closer to the microphones. These microphones are better than the other ones, but they are not better enough, it seems, to pick up really quiet speakers.
We can't quite hear the people at the front table when I'm speaking.
I've got to be able to have a number of people who can be with me in here when we can have rowing or ATM here to run those controls. I really.
That help where we can perhaps have people working in the building come in for a period of time. I don't have the answer for every one of those things. The other component, I want to mention that the moratorium has been talked about since January, and it's a little bit disappointing that we are in month 10, and the counter to the A.T.T. It's done a little amount of due diligence and listened to mass amounts of concerns. The paper counter with a 6-month window to complete very important work when we as a community talked about this since January when we took term. So I just want to point that out. It's a little bit unfair. I'd also like to know if the BESS engineering updates are available to the public. And if there's an itemized list available of the bills for public knowledge to help us understand what the overages are for categorically. Is that available?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, can I?
Yep, it's gonna take me a little bit.
And it might be advisable to maybe post those on the county website for other people who are interested, so you're not managing one-on requests.
The only thing is, our claims are, put on the website, but they're not in depth as far as all the invoices and things like that. So if you're wanting some information, yeah, just email me and I will get you what you need.
So it's 2 parts. One is like a monthly update that they provide.
Mhm.
And we have that made easily available, so we're not having to bother back asking for it. And the second part is the itemization of the building, so we have more of this to get rid of it. So I guess it's 2 requests.
Okay, so the monthly report that you're wanting, is it like what he does up here? But that's in the minute, that's in the minutes.
It's not the
No, I'm talking about what we receive as commissioners. We get the,
monthly updates that you get emailed. You got made available to.
I don't get those.
I'm looking for it and it shows what it is. Jacob, is there any reason that the public would not be able to have access to the progress reports from BS?
Not that I can think of.
I would just like to have a copy. I really can't keep everything in search base.
No,
I don't get 'em.
I can't think, I mean, I don't think there's anything statutorily that would prevent that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I have those. Yeah, that's fine. Where would the best place available be?
Website.
On the website? I can talk to him. Oh, that,
Yeah, version.
right, and that would would it go to Nathan? Put that on there?
Nathan manages the website.
Courthouse.
That
Okay,
is correct.
Resources section, and it makes sense to me.
right, okay, will do.
And then I'm curious how the estimated amount for the BS engineering, buy solar current was, so we're now at a point of overages and we have additional projects in the pipeline. Do we know how that was calculated and that was shared, and does that need to be assessed as we move forward with additional projects? So we don't face an overage again and as county taxpayers have to cover that deficit. So
Thank you,
is that information available how it was originally calculated?
Originally calculated was in the agreement was approved in December.
How that number was.
For their expenses, hourly rate, etc. That's what you're getting to.
And what the, like the categories of what, I'll look there, if I missed it, I have it, I apologize.
Would that have been in the agreement that was passed in December?
I'm not sure if it's in the agreement, how they calculated that, I'm not sure if that's in there or not, or if that would be between the attorneys.
The only thing, yes, I believe the only thing, yes, that we approved is the additional funds.
Right.
So their pay structure and things, I think, is established.
Good.
But we can look for that. Just keep bugging us about it. Yeah.
It sounds like we need to work on determining what our anticipated expense is through the year end, if we maintain our current level. Right? We're already over, and if we maintain that in our kind of living, and we still have this entire quarter to look at, we need to be financially responsible and prepare for what that estimation is to be.
Right.
I believe, Randy, you've heard the, they have cut back on, like coming here, doing things virtually for multiple reasons. But part of that was to reduce costs.
And that's appreciated, but again, I'm just trying to just be responsible and aware of the position we still have in the pipeline. I'm not questioning the value of their work, I'm asking us to be financially to support it.
So my point to you is some of these things will be adjusted because they're not, they don't have the commute time. So prices are adjusted. I understand what you're saying. My explanation is some of that expense we hope is decreased a little bit.
And I have a recommendation. Sharon, I don't know if this is possible or reasonable. It's two-part again. It's cameras on like the no solar roads. And issue fines based on offenses or speed violations.
She, well, she's asking the sheriff's department to place cameras on places and find individuals. Yeah, but also, Chris, isn't there I testified at the State House for this. I believe there's codes against us in the state of Indiana from doing that. Now, in response, in BESS, there's Indiana codes throughout the state. Go to Iowa, they'll give you a ticket for speeding. Speaking from past experience.
That is, I didn't know if you help us violate.
The
It's a whole process.
With the,
Regarding cameras.
if there is, I mean, there may be, I'm not familiar with it, so I'm happy to look into it and add it to my list. But I mean, yeah.
Randy, as you've heard, VS does have several cameras at locations. We asked them to put up other cameras when we heard of an issue. And my knowledge, they've done that. Of course, some cameras have come up missing and destroyed, by whoever, but they do have several cameras out there. We asked them if we made them aware, they do all they can to put cameras up at specific locations.
That's appreciated. I didn't know if we as a county were seeing the violations. I've been driving around there frequently and it's 1,000% accurate, but like the no solar, not a solar road signs are completely disregarded and stop signs
I think we all agree it's for public safety, and I didn't know the potential to help enforce fines. If we had cameras, that I appreciate that. I just wanted to.
I'm sure you're aware of this, like the no solar roads are enforceable for the larger vehicles.
Oh, I'm talking some big bad boys.
Okay, like the
Semis with massive loads on
the
them.
F-150, 250, those do
right.
not apply.
No, I'm
Okay.
talking about major size, heavyweight, locked up, 5, 7, 10.
They are still going the wrong direction. My husband and I just spoke this morning and said what probably should have happened, needs to happen, is any of these big trucks that are coming in need to have a holding area off of the highway somewhere before they ever get close to our county roads, because they are driving around trying to figure out where they're supposed to. They don't. They need escorted in by the solar company off of a major highway, not on our county roads, trying to make turns and turning around in my yard or whoever's trying to. They don't know where they're going.
They need a whole break.
They do. It should be escorted in off of the highway, not find your way to County Road 200 North, because it is a disaster.
Hope that documents proactive development projects that are still in the pipeline into play, so that we can proactively address them. Having.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I make a movement for adjournment.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed.
We were having this fun.
Not as much, because we signed some stuff.
Yeah.